Hello and welcome to Match Fishing TV. Getting ready for Christmas. I think we're all up to our ears in wrapping paper and empty bottles. This week's show we're talking about the Bait Tech Canal Championship qualifying round, big open at March on the Old Neen. There's the Herringbrook Winter League, and to discuss those and other results I'm joined in the studio as usual by Tom Scoling.
Hello.
And Matt Godfrey.
Hey up.
So, Bait Tech Canal Champs on the Stainford and Keeby. Obviously one dear to your heart because you run it.
Yeah.
We had some foreign visitors and all, didn't we, this
We
week?
did.
All the way from Bonnie, Scotland. 5 Scottishmen come down to fish. It's a right trip, that, isn't it, for them?
That is a long old journey, that is.
It is, but it was worthwhile for one of them, wasn't it? James Woodrow managed to qualify, bless him.
So he's got to come back.
Yeah, he's got to come back again, and I think he's coming for a practice as well in between. But it was a decent match, Rog. £17.8 There were actually two £17.5.
There's a tie, wasn't there?
Yeah, so joint first, and that were between Lee Kerry and John Goodwin.
And they were next peg to each other, I understand.
Yeah, the interesting thing was though, they had two very different matches. John Goodwin caught his fish on casters. We've got a picture of his catch shot, and he caught a couple of big perch, some skimmers. He had a rudd 12 ounce.
Oh, nice.
There were a few rudd caught yesterday on them boats, which were interesting. We don't normally see them, but it shows how mild it's been. That they're feeding. But he had £17.5, a few bonus fish, lots of roach on casters. And Lee Kerry on the next peg was second. He had a bit of a different day. He caught a few on casters to start, but he ended up catching on hemp. He had over 100 fish on hemp.
Wow, that's a nice day's fishing by anybody's standards.
2 3-ounce roach, one a chuck basically. And then I managed to sneak into third place with 15.4. I had a right frustrating day. I was just up from him, and I never stopped swearing, to be honest. I've never had so many pike in my entire life.
Well, they're there for a reason. They're there because there's an awful lot of snap.
I honestly think, but by the same token, I've never had a hemp line as solid in my life.
Yeah.
And I think that this stretch that we're on's got a lot of chunky roach in, and I just think that the pike had balled them up into one little area. Yeah. And they were surrounding them, because I often hear people say, oh, you know, I got piked, and I've always thought in the past, I'll just ship in quicker or go down a different route. And yesterday, I'd strike, and one would chase it where I struck, then another one would come and have a go halfway back, and then when I went to net it, and I had one come up under my landing net and grab one through my landing net.
Yeah. And it's scary when that happens.
Honestly.
It's like just whoa!
That's it. I reckon if you'd have tried to swim across, you'd have had a leg off. That's right when they were there. But it were brilliant. It fished really well. John Freeborn were fourth with £14 odd. There were another £14. Loads of double figures. Yeah. You had £10 odd. Snuck in as a qualified.
Yeah,
it fished really, really well. A lot of, and yesterday we didn't have quite as many on the match, so we did 2 pegs and miss a peg. Yeah. And there were definitely a lot more fish caught on like bread, casters, hemp.
Just with a bit of a space
between
every other angler.
But the qualifiers for the final were John Goodwin, good-looking Tom Scully sat next to me, Adam Dowd, who actually beat Alan Scotthorne off the next peg by 2 ounces.
Wow.
Good performance by Adam there, and our Scottish friend James Woodrow.
It's obviously it's a really popular venue at the moment, and it's fishing ever so well.
Well, you say popular, it's good, it's fishing brilliant, but we don't seem to be able to get as many as we have in the past on our matches. And there seems to be more smaller matches cropping up, really. So I think it's a pattern in match fishing everywhere, Roger. It's a bit frustrating from our point of view, but I think you find when you attract a high calibre of anglers in one area, other people go elsewhere, you know.
Whilst, you know, some people want to go and sit next to Alan Scotthorne and they wouldn't have got beaten him off the next peg, there's an awful lot of other people that think, if I go to the next section on a different match, I'm not going to get next to Alan Scotthorne, and I'm not going to have to worry about Lee Kerry and Matt Godfrey, and it's always been the same in match fishing. Yeah. It's not going to change. So that looked a really good fixture.
It was.
Okay, 80 Herringbrook Winter League.
Yeah, they have 2 winter leagues at Herringbrook. They have the teams of 4, which we talked about last week. That was the last round of that. And this week, this is the Angling Trust Winter League. So obviously the top 2 teams in this league qualify for the Winter League final. And the top 2 teams ended up being Dynamite Maven Midlands, so no surprises there. They did really well on that.
Well, I think they've been streaks ahead all the way through, haven't they, really?
Yeah.
It was always a case of who was going to go through with them, and that was?
That was Drennan Northwest. So them 2 did really well. The winner on the day individually was Steve Williamson. He had a lovely day. He caught some fish on maggots. He drew peg 8 on canal, and I think you actually shot a feature with Robin Griffiths on peg 8 on canal a couple of weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah, nice area.
Caught a lot of F1s. He had 71 £1. I've actually missed the weight. I'm sure it was a low £70 anyway. And just behind him was Robbie Griffiths from Drennan North West. And he's had a very different match. He's not had a bite for an hour and a half. And he's actually caught, later, he's caught a maggot feeder. And in the last hour, he's managed a few on the pole. He had slightly less, I think he had £70, and he caught F1s and carp as well. So a good match.
That has been another good fixture, hasn't it? But,
Close as well. I noticed Maver Gold Dynamite were third, so they missed out on qualifying, but they had the same points as Drennan.
Yeah. So it's gone to section count back or weight count back. So no, close old match. Okay, now here's another one where we've seen an awful lot of fish caught. The River Severn at Shrewsbury.
Unbelievable, this, isn't it?
It's scary. You're in for a right treat of a Christmas.
I can't wait.
Wish I were going.
Have you had many sign up for your mini festival?
Yeah, I've got 40 on it now.
Brilliant. Okay, well they're going to catch some fish because, I mean, the weekend's match, what was it? Average £28 a man?
Yeah.
£12 was last on the match, I think I heard this morning, something like that. Absolutely ridiculous.
Why would you want to go anywhere else?
It's true, isn't it?
It really
it's ridiculous.
is. And it's proper fishing as well.
It probably beats a lot of commercial weights this weekend, this match. Third place, Clive Fletcher, £49.12 from peg 44. Mainly dace, loads of dace in there at the minute. Never been so many. I know you spoke to Darren Frost this morning and he's shocked, isn't he, still, with how good it actually is.
Yeah.
Second place, no stranger to this venue, Top Riverman, Preston Innovations man, Scott Jeans, £57, 4 pegs away on peg 40. Again, ridiculous net of fish, isn't it? Ridiculous. You're talking, what, 300, 350 fish?
Yeah.
For that sort of weight. But the winner, master on rivers, master at this sort of whip fishing, catching lots of fish, fishes the way a lot, Adrian Whittle.
He's a bit good, Adrian.
£65.10. That's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous. Peg 46. Unbelievable. I want to go.
He had a £6 chub in that as well on the whip. He managed to land.
That'd be a little squeaky bum time, wouldn't it?
That's a fish of a lifetime in itself, isn't it? £6 chub.
It is. He commented, it was funny because I obviously put a post on about my festival, and after Saturday he commented and put, I'm gutted I can't go on your festival. I'm on holiday with the family in Wales. So I just put underneath, I'm not gutted.
No, I mean, that is another superb match. As was the Old River Neen at March for their Christmas open.
This is always a very talked about fixture, isn't it? The Christmas
absolutely. Bob Fitzjohn's been running it for about 150 years, I think. It's always real big prize table, and it's always a sellout. The queue up to try and get on this match. And I think the thing is with the Old Neen at March, over the years they've gradually allowed the boundaries of the match to get a little bit bigger so they can get a few more people on. So the further you get out into the sticks, generally it's not quite as good as it is in the town centre where it's a bit sheltered. But good winning weight there.
Absolutely. Simon Fields won the match. He had £26 for. I spoke to him earlier on today and he said he started off on bread on the short pole, caught a lot of fish on that. And then later he's gone long on hemp and caught some real quality fish on that. But it was in the middle of town. Is it the Health Centre Bridge, Roger?
Yeah, Health Centre Bridge has always been good. It's quite narrow there, but it means you've got a nice short walk. You park next to the Health Centre, just over the bridge, down. I would imagine he's just been downstream a bit by a couple of pegs.
Yeah, maybe even like an odd bonus nurse walking over the bridge as you're fishing, couldn't you?
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Not in this weather. They're wearing big duffel coats and things if they are. And they might be blokes, of course. Don't be sexist. Stop it.
Yeah.
I tell you, he did say, which were interesting. He said that there's still a lot of weed on the river.
There's been a lot of weed cutting being done. Apparently, there's a lot of floating weed. I saw Rob Hewison posted on Facebook that a lot of the time, the river couldn't decide whether it wanted to flow right, flow left, stops. And Rob said that quite a few times you were struggling to get in with a rig. You'd have to lower your rig down into it. So weights could have been even better. That's
what he said. If he could have fished to hand, he'd have caught a lot more, he said, Simon. He thinks £30 plus would have been possible. But the fact that he had to sort of short line it and drop it in the gaps in the weed, but still a great weight, 26.4, isn't it?
Awesome.
It's a hell of a venue, and I think anybody that's going to be drawn on there on the Winter League final is going to have, A, a great time practicing for it, and B, a great time on the final itself.
Definitely.
They've got two good venues lined up. I think it's going to be a great Winter League. Okay, well, we're going to take a very quick break and we'll be back with some more match action in a couple of minutes. welcome back. Okay, so the West Sussex Winter League was their final round at Monk Lakes.
It certainly was, Rog. This is like the Winter League that Dower Dorking are in, them boys. And on the team front, no surprise, Dorking won. And the team that comes second and also qualified was Meat Bashers. I love that name, boys. Absolutely love it. It's Pete Upperton's team. Yeah. So they did really well to qualify. Two dangerous teams in that final, and now Dorking have got a brilliant team for both natural venues and the commercials, and Meat Bashers will have as well. But I'll start with second place on the match. That was Gavin Bridge. He had a fantastic weight of £170. And I bet that when Gavin weighed in, he thought, I'll definitely win this match today.
He's going to take some stopping that.
Yeah, I bet he were counting his money. He got it spent already.
I don't think he would have been, actually, because he was actually next pegged to the winner.
Well, and the winner, I've just mentioned his name, Pete Upperton, he had slightly more, another £200 in fact.
That's a fair gap, that is, £200, isn't it?
Absolutely ridiculous. He had 7 keep nets in the end, Pete. He had £372, big carp. Dobbin Brad, he's caught on every chuck in all day, everywhere. He's fished. I spoke to Brad Gibbons last night, and he says, one thing he did say though, he says, when Pete's on him, you won't beat him. Because if you see him start catching, you might as well, that's it, it's game over.
Fishing for second.
Yeah, and that's obviously what happened yesterday. We were on peg 113 on Lake 3 at Monk Lakes. Like you said, next to Gavin, so I reckon there were a few fish in a little bit of an area just there.
Probably netted it, they're probably going to net either end.
But that's a ridiculous.
That's just fish
I couldn't
soup,
believe it.
£372 in December.
Brilliant, isn't it?
That is a nonsensical weight. Well done, Pete. I couldn't catch that many.
Awesome.
I ain't caught that all year.
I'm going to say I'd be there for a week and catch that many. No, that's a hell of a performance, that is. So, okay, so well done to Dorking, well done to Meat Bashers for getting through there. Now, Lindome Natural Baits League.
Yeah, this is a new sort of concept we're trying for this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Up at Lindome Lakes, we've got basically the set of rules that says natural baits only, and carp don't count, but other than that, it's pretty much a free-for-all, isn't it?
Carp don't count at all, or they've got a weight limit on
No, they don't count
at all.
No, F1s count, but carp don't.
But mirror
couldn't tell the
F1s.
difference.
You ever heard of a mirror F1, Rog?
Well, I have now.
Mirror F1s don't count.
No. I didn't see any of them, did you?
I didn't. I had to ask one for ID when I caught him. I was a bit unsure though.
But they were quite popular, 40 odd people fished, a few of the open lads fished as well, so it was nice. It was won by Matt Pilley. He had 56.15. He was on Bonsai Peg 6, caught a lot of F1s down either edge. Second from Loco Lake was Rich Kerridge. He's had £48.6. He's had a slow start, Rich has, but he's really made up for it late on. He's caught some big F1s at 5 metres on maggots. As had third place Del Shepherd. He had £37, and again, he caught a lot of F1s on the short pole. But I've got to tell you a story about Lee Kerry's day. I felt really sorry for him. Even like after I'd finished laughing at him, I still thought a bit sorry for him. We've had a couple of like next peg encounters lately, so and I've been lucky and then I've come out on top. So this was the third time we've been next to each other, and he was gunning for me.
He was up for it.
He was gunning for me, bless him. And to be fair, you know what winter fishing is like. There were a few fish in front of me. I don't think there were as many in front of Lee. I've caught steady, and it just didn't go his way. And anyway, the end of the match came. I think he knew I were in front, and he's packing up. And first of all, he's took a number 4 off the top 4, put it down, and stood on it. And I've got to show you what he did. I'm in this limited area, but he stood on this number 4, and then he's walked away, turned to walk away, like not bothered. Then he's obviously just boiled up with rage as he's walking away. He's turned back round and he started jumping on it like this. Like, it was absolutely raging. Then,
on his pole section?
Yeah, that he'd just broken by mistake. Then, he's got back to his van, and a few weeks ago he lent a number 5 section to Paul Christie, who was another angler.
Big one.
Yeah, and Paul had broke this section. So Paul had bought him a new one, and given it him in a cardboard box. Anyway, Lee's obviously still raging about the day. And he's obviously thought he's taken this section out of this cardboard box, but he hasn't. So he's got this cardboard box, so there's a bin here. So he's got this cardboard box, folded it over his arm to throw the box, obviously crumple the cardboard up to put it in the bin, without taking the section out. So he's wrapped this number 5 into 3 pieces as well. Bless him.
Oh, Lee.
We just had to give him a cuddle, didn't
That's
we?
a bad day. That's a bad day.
Well, he did win
But then
the
he's won the
on
match the
Saturday.
following day, yeah.
Yeah.
So they obviously got his anger out.
He
Stop
did.
beating him, Tom. Stop it. He obviously can't handle it. Don't do it again. Simple as nice bloke, but you upsetted him.
If I'd known it was going to upset him as much as that, I wouldn't have, honestly.
Well done, Matt. Well done, Lee. Old one that is. Meadowlands, Autumn League, the final round. Autumn League, final round, weekend before Christmas.
Yeah, that's it. I tell you what, this is a place, it's only blooming 10 minutes from here. I've never fished a match on it. I'd like to go, it looks brilliant. I was talking to Joe Roberts about it, he's been fishing, loads of skimmers, loads of carp as well. But they do some lovely silverfish matches. We'll have to go and have a go there.
I've got to say, Matt, your voice is very, very craggy. Have you been doing a lot of carol singing?
I have been doing a little bit. I've been earning myself a little bit of extra cash, yeah.
Anyway, back to Meadowlands.
And this was the final round of the Autumn League, and it fished a little bit more difficult than normal. No £100 weights this time. The winner was Carl Mullen. He had £53 from Warren Peg 6. John Jenkins was second with £51. Not far behind at all. He were on Lambsdown Lake. Ray Durant was third. He had £48. Paul Cook fourth, £45, and Steve Daly fifth with £39. So really close at top. Carl caught carp, some big ones in there, on the method with a ringer's wafter on the hook. Bit of a specimen sort of tactic venue, innit, Meadowlands?
Some big carp in there, isn't there?
Yeah, I know that because it's so deep, they often catch like on pop-ups and things like that. So it's a really interesting venue. And that left the league, again, in a really close finish. Steve Daly won with 11 points. Jack Arness, local angler, was second with 14 points. Baz Bird was third with 17 points, and also on 17, but he had a worse dropper, were Stu Polser. So nice little league, good fishing, and he's still fishing really well now. I know that they're doing some Saturday silverfish matches as well at the minute there. So
There's your chance to go and fish it.
Yeah, it's brilliant, Meadowlands.
Okay, TriCast Western Pools winter weekend.
You know, I was gutted to miss this because I fished it last year, and the fishing's good, but the bar's even better. That's what I always enjoy the most about Western. It's second to none. But they had their winter champs on Saturday, and that was won by Derek Smith of Trafford Angling Centre. He actually caught Dobbin Bread, Derek did. He had £65. He was on peg 6 on Stretton. Second place was Jason Andrews. Jason was on 22 on Belvedere, and he's actually caught on pellets on the long pole. Which takes me nicely into the Sunday match, which is the Fur and Feather event. Always a few nice prizes up for grabs on this.
yeah,
This was won by Ian Fellows, who had £76 too. He's again caught on pellets on peg 5 on Belvedere. Sean Wilson, who actually won this match last year, because I remember interviewing Sean, he had 52.9 and he was second, and he was on peg 9 on Weir. Again, he's caught on hard pellets though, Sean, not soft pellets like the others. So he's had a nice day. And third was Phil Roberts. He had 38.12. He was on peg 1 on Belvedere and caught on bread. So the nice thing about the day though was they did manage to raise some money for charity. They're big on putting a bit back at Western. They do a lot for charity.
brilliant.
And you know, over 50 presents were actually donated to the local children's hospice. So that was nice.
Excellent. It's obviously Fur and Feather's big at the moment, and I've got to tell you this story about many years ago. On the Central, I went and fished a Fur and Feather on the knee. I think it was in Nasington, and it was one of those with a huge prize table, a bit like the March ones are now. I remember Roddy Poole won a sack of potatoes, but Keith Porteous won a turkey, and he was delighted to have won a turkey. And he's gone to the prize table and said, "We'll give it to you later." They brought it in, it was still alive.
Never.
He's driven back from near Peterborough all the way home with this live turkey in the back. He's probably still got it as a pet. Anyway, that's us done for this week. It's just done for this year. You've probably seen, this is out at the moment. Don't miss it. On sale at shop@dhb.com. If anybody wants a personal snide rumour, make a note on your order, and I'll jot one on the foreword for you. We're back on January the 4th. Have a great Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.